Let's look at lesson 2.1a, where do I stand? So the heights of AP students were compared. So here is a dot plot that represents it. So we are going to write a few sentences to describe it on number 1. So I've started it for us. So when we describe a distribution, we're going to use SOCS. So the distribution of AP Stat students is approximately symmetric. Y'all agree? Good. Okay, so we did shape. So then what else do we need to write? Outliers. So what could be the outliers? Okay. Possible outliers. Because if we didn't do the 1.5 times IQR rule, then we can't say the the outliers are. So we're just going to write possible outliers include or are 56 inches and 78 inches. Okay, so that got the outliers. Okay, so center. So since this is symmetric, what should we use for our center? Mean, that's right. So we're going to look at the mean, and it gives that to us in our stats. So the mean is 67.45 inches. And so I'm going to go ahead and do spread. What should we use for spread? If it's if it's not symmetric. But since it's symmetric, we need to use standard deviation. So, and the standard deviation is 4.807 inches.
So you use standard deviation for range when it's symmetric?
Correct.
What about when it's skewed?
You would use IQR.
So would this graph also be considered like bimodal or instant?
It kind of looks bimodal. Why do you think it could be bimodal? Because it has this and this. Think about what a sample of AP students would look like boys and girls. So you'd have like so many boys are here, here and above, and then the girls are like around 66, which are a little bit shorter. Yeah, so including bimodal is fine. Okay, let's go to number 2. Mrs. Dobbs is 65 inches tall. What percent of heights are less than or equal to 65? So let's go to, here's 65. So less than or equal to. So that's going to be included. Yeah, so it's 5. So 5 out of the 20. What does that equal as a percent? Or as decimal? Let's do decimal first. Yeah, 25%. So 25% are less than or equal to 65 inches. So what is your height? So now you're going to do your own height. So how tall are you in inches? Write it down. Don't know. 5 foot is 60. So then add inches to that. So I'm really short. I'm only 63 inches. So then you're going to look at the dot plot. You put yours. Don't put 63 unless you're really 5'3" like me. What percent of heights are less than or equal to your height? So mine would be right here. So count up the dots. Is anybody taller than 100% of that data? Anybody at 78 or higher? Or 79? What would that be? 6.6,
Just like above.
6.5, yeah. Okay. So mine is just 3 out of the 20, which is 0.15, which is 15%. I'm in the 15th percentile. Really short. Okay, let's go to complete the table. So we're going to use that dot plot to help us to complete this table. We have 56 to 60 is 1. The relative frequency is 0.05 or 5%. Cumulative cumulative relative frequency is whenever you add up all the previous. So at or below, less than or equal to. 61 to 65, there's 4, which is 20%. To get to the cumulative, you have to add the one with the previous. So I added 0.05 to 0.20 to get 25%. All right, let's complete the table. 66 to 70. Count them up. How many dots are between 66 and 70? 66 and 70. 11, yeah. So 11. So relative frequency, 11 out of the 20. Anybody got a calculator? Yeah. And then to do our cumulative, you want to add our previous. Okay, and then between 71 and 75, it's 3. So it's the 3 out of the 20. Divide on about 15%. Then we would add the previous, or add the new, sorry, 0.15. So that'd be 0.95 or 95%. Then 76 to 80, we only have 1, so 1 out of the 20, which is 5. So we add. So whenever we finish, we should come up with 1 or 100%. Because cumulative is at that number or less, or the previous. So that is how percentile happens. So we are going to create a cumulative relative frequency graph, which is called an ogive. You learned that on your Edpuzzle yesterday. So let's create that. We need to start 56 to 60. So the previous dot would have been 55 and below. So we're going to start there at 0. I'm going to do it a little on there. Okay, so then 60, it went up to 0.05. So this would be 10. So it would be the 0.05. So about right there. From 61 to 65 is going to go up to 25%. So here's 0.30. Here's 25. Right there. And then 70, 65, 66 to 70 is going to go all the way up to 80. There we go. And then to go up to 75, we're going to go all the way up to 95. So here's 90. So this would be 95. And then to get up to 80, we'd go all the way up to that 100%. Let's connect our dots. Okay, so if we were to, instead of doing a cumulative relative frequency, we did a histogram, where would the tallest bar be? How would it correlate to this graph right here? Yeah, 66, 70, where that steepest part is. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so let's answer the questions. If someone in class is 66 inches tall, estimate and interpret the percentile they are at using the graph. So let's go to 66. Would 66 be about right here? So we're going to start at the x-axis, go to 66. So we're going to go up. About what percentile would that be? And we're estimating. So as long as you're close, it's kind of between 30 and 40, I would say. So let's write that. So it's the 30th percentile. So that's the answer, but we've got to interpret it also. So that's where we're going to write a sentence. So approximately 30% of the class is 66 inches or shorter. And there's a variation that you could write. You could say 30% of the class is at or below 66 inches, less than or equal 66 inches. Okay, estimate and interpret the 80th percentile. So when we were given height, we started at the x-axis. When we're giving the percentile, we're going to start at the y-axis. So go to 80th percentile. Try to make yourself a straight line across to find a point on the graph. And then what did y'all get? 70? Yeah. Whenever I first did, I got 70. This time, it's like at 71. So as long as you're close to that. So it's about 70 inches. So to write that, we do approximately 80% of the class is about 70 inches or less. Okay, so let's do a mini review over percentiles. Okay, so for percentiles, it's the percent of values that are less than or equal to a given value. In our Edpuzzle, we put at or below. That's what percentile is, at or below, but another phrase or another way of writing it is less than or equal to. You want to make sure you say at and not in, because at describes the location within a distribution. Okay, the cumulative relative frequency graph, or the ogive, can show us quartiles too. And from the quartiles, you can find your IQR. You can also find your median, because Q1 is your 25th percentile. Median is your 50th percentile. And then Q3 is your 75th percentile. And remember, to find IQR, we would do Q3 minus Q1. So for your ogive, the y-axis is going to go up to 100%. Or we could say it's 1. Depends on if you're writing it as percents or not. And then, so we'll label it percentile. So I'm going to do the 50 percentile, and then 25th percentile, and 75th. Using percentiles helps you compare data. So we have the variable is the x-axis, so whatever variable that is. Whenever you go for a wellness check, whenever you're a kid, they usually put you on a percentile graph. They're comparing you with other kids your same age. And so you're able to see how tall you are in comparison. And so they'll tell you what percentile you are. So when my daughter was born, she was born early. She was 3 pounds, 13 ounces. Like, she was tiny. She was less than 10th percentile of babies born. So it was crazy. So whenever we saw that chart, it was like she was way down here compared to everybody else who was kind of like up here. So that's how you can compare data, is using these ogive graphs. And that'll put you on a percentile. So let's say that this is what it looks like. So it's just random points, but you can use those points to find your quartiles. So about here would be your Q1. About here would be your median, or Q2. And then about here would be Q3. So once you find those, then you can use that to find your IQR, because you just subtract Q3 minus Q1. Okay, so I want you to do 1 and 2 of the application problem with your partner, and we'll come back and talk about it. Make sure you answer in sentence form. Let's see how you did. So as long as it's a variation of this, then you're good. So number 1, wanted you to describe the 82nd percentile. So 82% of states have a pre-K to 12th grade rating less than or equal to Pennsylvania.
But how do we know if it's like less than? Because I thought you said that we don't know like what the thing is talking about.
Their rating is less than. So that's how you would describe it. Because they're at the 82nd percentile, they rated them at some, like, it's their grade. We don't know what their grade is, but it's at, or Pennsylvania is at or above 82% of the other states. Is there a different way that you wrote it?
Well, I just didn't include the less than.
What did you write instead?
I just said the state of Pennsylvania is ranked approximately 82% for pre-K to 12th grade.
You're saying that that's their grade, but we don't know their grade. Percentile tells you the location within a distribution. So you do need to change that to say that their rating, that 82% of states have a pre-K to 12th rating less than or equal to Pennsylvania. Or you could say that Pennsylvania's ranking was at or above 82% of the other states. They were given a grade, but 82% is not their grade. It's where they are compared to others.
Okay, and if it's like, you're saying at or above, but then it's saying less, I'm just confused, like, why it's.
At or below.
Oh,
Did I write that on y'all's at or below?
mhm.
Okay. Okay, and then the 0% means that 0% of the states have a higher ed rating less than or equal to Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is the same or higher than 0%.
So are we always gonna be writing less than or equal to and like those sorts of questions?
Yes, percentile describes where they're at in relation to others. So if I'm at the 50th percentile, or let's say 60th percentile, then I am at or the same. I'm the same or greater than the other. So that means that the rest of them are at or below my score.
So we wrote pretty much that, but we just didn't write less than or equal to. Or we said Pennsylvania is ranked higher than 82% of the pre-K to 12th grade schools.
At or higher than is fine.
Alright.
Yes,
I said higher than or equal to 80% of other schools.
yes, that works. Yep. There's 18% that are greater than Pennsylvania's. So as long as you are saying that they are Pennsylvania is 82% higher, or no, higher than 82% of the other states. That's fine. Okay, so here is the ogive for it. So at what percent, this is something else, this is tuition, sorry. About what percent of states have in-state public tuition less than 8,000? Did y'all get about 60%? Okay, and then the other one, more than 8,000. I need to write that one down. So about 40% of the in-state tuition are greater than 8,000. And then we have Q1 and Q3 estimations. Is that what you got for your Q1, Q3 estimations? As long as it's close. So I just want this as a sentence. The other one is fine without the sentence if you just wrote what they are. So the IQR of the distribution of in-state tuition is about 4,000. That would do it.